What happened? What happened? What happened? Wallahi, what happened? Wallahi, what happened?
So Danganronpa 2x2 has been delayed until early 2027. And if I'm being honest, I actually don't mind. Now, before I talk about all that, I actually want to get into what I've seen on Twitter and on Spike Chunsoft's official account about what happened at the Anime Expo, because I've seen some incredible stuff, and honestly, I'm really excited.
Hey, Dahiga, you motherfucker!
Quem?
Dahiga! Danige. Oh, so Danige is the caller. What's the problem with Danige?
So on Spike Chunsoft's Twitter, they officially said, in Danganronpa 2x2, the world map is completely revamped. Players can navigate the tropical 3D world map and freely run across the map, or instantly travel to a selected destination. And they display screenshots below, basically showing how it looks. And if I'm being honest, this is worth the 2027 wait. This looks beautiful. The complete redesign of the hotel is beautiful. I love the new pool. I love how much bigger and spacious it is. And overall, I think it feels more like a hotel tropical setting, in my opinion. Bit of a side note too, I kept saying hotel, and I meant hotel complex, not just hotel, so apologies for that. But yeah, that's all. Still looks great though. Also, rest in peace to 2D Hajime. So, as you can see in the photo, it would no longer be like a side scroller. It is now completely 3D Hajime. You will see overhead, I believe that is it. If I make a mistake, I really do apologize. But I believe that is, a bird's eye overhead shot view of the entire island. I think it looks pretty clean. I see why some people are just even a little bit annoyed by it, because I'll be real, I may have to get used to it, may take me a few minutes to get used to it, but I still think it looks pretty good too. I am, a little bit like a side note, I am glad that they kept in like the fast forward feature where you can just travel to anywhere you want in an instant. I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, overall this looks great. I have no complaints here. My final rating for the location and map redesigns, I'm gonna give an A+. I think they did an excellent job with it. I was a bit worried that, they do too much and add, just way too much and it becomes oversaturated, but I really don't think they did that. They added the perfect amount, they made it look beautiful. Again, Danganronpa's art style truly is beautiful. But yeah, I love it. A+, I have no complaints whatsoever. On to the next one.
Well, where do we start with this cunt? Spoke absolute bollocks all summer about madness. Madness? The only madness was that thousands of fucking idiots fell for your tweets all summer and believed everything you fucking said. What an absolute cunt this geezer is.
Obviously, Saikikibara and Kodaka too, have stated many times that this is a completely new game from Danganronpa 2. It's just, it's not going to be new designs and that's all. There is a whole new route with different culprits, different victims, different survivors, if there is any. And yeah, it is just insane to hear. But one thing that I am happy they did was they actually separated the two. So you can play the original mode, or the original Danganronpa 2 with the updated visuals and graphics and whatnot, and the Slayham mode, great name by the way, where again, that is the new route. And honestly, I really like that. The reason why this is good in both ways is for the original route, you can get people who've never experienced or played Danganronpa and get them into the franchise with this game by essentially playing the old Danganronpa 2 Goodbye Despair and the new one. And for old players, again, obviously it's a whole new game, but still it has crazy replayability value. And let's say I don't really want to play the new version, I don't want to replay it, I could just replay the original. So I think it's a win-win scenario. Another reason why I like it too is because it acts as a preserved canon. So by focusing the alternate timeline entirely on the original Danganronpa 2, or the original cast, it allows players to enjoy the chaos of a what-if scenario, essentially. So you get the same characters that you've seen from the previous game, you all know them, you all recognize them, but now it's a whole new scenario. So essentially, you don't know what's going to happen, unless you delete all social media, but still, the point stands in it being, it's just something new. And as Kodaka and Saikikibara said, it feels like a whole new game. It just doesn't feel like some kind of remaster or just a remake, honestly. And that's about all I have to say about this section. I'm giving this another A+, honestly. They did it perfectly. Again, I was a bit worried it was just gonna be the original game, and then the scenario would happen to be completely different, but I'm glad they just separated the two. Makes it a lot easier, makes it a lot more fun. Great job. On to the next.
Shit in a kettle. Boiling shit.
Actual shit? Like
boiling poo in a kettle. Bro, the smell. Mike, the
he was
smell.
boiling shit
in a kettle, bro.
This is probably gonna be the section I'm most interested in because we haven't really seen too much in game, or just gameplay in general from Danganronpa 2x2, so this was another, taste of the gameplay we're gonna see, and honestly, I like it. This time we see 3 more characters, Hiyoko, Nekomaru, and Kazuichi. Let's start with Hiyoko's introduction. Honestly, her design looks a lot better in my opinion. I'm not saying her old design was bad, but there's the shades on her hair, which are a lot more visible now in her new design, my mistake. And also she just looks a lot more polished, so there's that. Yeah, she just looks really good. I have no complaints there. I really hope we could see more development out of Hiyoko. I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of Hiyoko one bit. She was a little bit funny, but overall just really annoying, and felt like a lot of wasted potential, especially with the dynamic between her and Mahiru. So I hope we see some of that in 2x2. Next is the Go himself, Nekomaru Nidai, and Nekomaru looks awesome. I love his new design. Again, I'll be honest, his design in the old game looks great here. About the same things I was gonna say for Hiyoko's design, I guess. And honestly, if there's one difference I do notice, it's definitely the shading and the art style. The same thing could be said with Hiyoko's. That thick line of art they had and the heavy comic book like shading from the original game has been removed, and now they're going for a smoother, more high resolution line work, and that's why they look a lot more modern and more crisp. And honestly, I had to kind of dig deep into this because I didn't notice this at first. I just thought, that was a part of the, I just thought it was on accident. But honestly, this change, I actually don't mind. I'll be real, at first, I was a bit put off by it, but I still like it though. And finally, we have the Go himself, Kazuichi Soda. Honestly, he looks the best out of all 3. Not to say, Hiyoko looked great, Nekomaru looked great, but I don't know, it's something with Kazuichi that he looks incredible. And I feel like Chris Collinsworth talking about Mahomes right now.
I almost screamed, Patrick Mahomes. It was just like the one in Tampa a year ago.
But looking at his design, you can obviously tell the differences. I think his is really noticeable too, along with Hiyoko's. Now you obviously have the thinner line art, the dynamic shading, whatnot, but I think his hair texture is really different. His spiky bright pink hair, it's drawn with slightly sleeker strands and sharper points, so it loses the chaotic or rugged look of the old one, which I think it looks a lot cleaner now in my opinion. But overall, yeah, another great design again. I'm loving everything about the art style of this game. It just looks so beautiful. And I will admit too, a lot of people are not in the the moving animations. I honestly don't think they look bad. Now, unfortunately, I don't think I can post the clips here because I'm afraid I will get in trouble. So, you can find them on Twitter, I believe. They are accessible there. But looking at the moving sprites, I am happy that they're not doing them every second or every time dialogue changes. It's just once in a while. I think some are better than others, I do agree with that, but I don't think any of them look bad. Kazuichi's is probably the most extra we've seen since, Ibuki's original one from the demo playthrough in November of 2025, but I think it's a nice touch, especially with how animated Danganronpa is itself. I just think it's a good addition. So for the rating, I'm gonna give it an A. Now, realistically, it's an A+. I love the art style. I am already in love with it. However, we haven't seen all the characters. We haven't seen Teru yet. We haven't seen Fuyuhiko yet. We haven't really seen Akane, even though she is in the background of one of them. We've seen Mahiru once, but I do want to get a better look at it. But yeah, I just want to get a true feel of the art style, if that makes sense, before anything. And then I can give it a full A+. Now it's time to talk about what I mentioned earlier in the video, or the earliest point, which is unfortunately the delay.
This guy, on my life, he switches it up every single day. One day he's a Muslim, the next day he's a Christian. I swear to you. Where's your Bible? What did I tell you guys?
I'm a Christian.
You're a Christian, yeah?
Yes, sorry.
You're confused, brother.
Bible.
Hey, brother, you're confused. I'm telling you, brother.
You can't be a Christian.
I'll just keep this part short and sweet. Basically, Danganronpa 2x2 has been delayed until early 2027, announced by Saiki Kibata. And I'll be honest, I try to gaslight myself a lot into thinking it get released this year, but looking at all the evidence, wasn't crazy. If you really, or not really, if you remember the AMAs, or not the AMAs, but the early interviews in 2025, Saiki Kibata said that it was very difficult to manage regarding Danganronpa 2x2's whole work schedule and whatnot, and the fact that it's 20% longer than the new game, or than the original Danganronpa 2, and not to mention, they had to remake Danganronpa 2 and make essentially a whole new game. So I'm not surprised they've had trouble managing that. But I'm not mad about that. That means they'll have more time to work on the game. apparently that the time they'll finish, it will be done in 2026, which gives me hope that January, February, or March, again, early 2027 is the time it will get released. So I'm confident that it is. I trust the development team. It looks great. I trust Spike Chunsoft and 2Kyo Games and Gem Drops. I also think are working on it. But yeah, that's really going to conclude everything I have to say. If you like this video, obviously I'll be talking about Danganronpa a lot more. I'm a huge fan of the series, and I'm just kind of upset at myself that I haven't really gotten to talk about the game as much because I upload once every 15,000 years. But I promise this time I'll be a lot more consistent. And yeah, that's about it. See you in the next video.